I'm Megan Skidmore. For 2.5 years, I have been talking about evolving faith journeys. I started to tire of the heaviness of this focus. I had the clear message come through. It is time for Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast to evolve into Living Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast. With the same vulnerability and unapologetic authenticity, I will be focusing on the joy in this journey, the life and the living that comes on the other side of maybe, on the other side of what's possible. I want to talk about claiming spiritual sovereignty and becoming your own captain of your vessel. Let's celebrate releasing what no longer aligns for you and connecting with your higher power and honor expanding your energy field to make room for all things new. Welcome, everyone, to today's episode of Living Beyond the Shadow of Doubt. I have a very special guest. I say that every time, and I really mean it.
Thank you. I believe you.
But today I have Sara Cunningham with me, and Sara has actually been on the podcast in the past. And I asked her on today for some very special and specific reasons, and we'll get to that. But Sara is the mom of a gay son, is from Oklahoma City, and quite a few years back in the beginning of her journey, coming from a conservative faith background, she wrote a book. And I asked you before we hit record, and now it slipped my
Okay.
mind. I'm sorry.
It's titled How We Sleep at Night.
How We Sleep at Night, Short-Term Memory Problems.
Well, it's a long title, unusual, but
And so welcome. So glad to have
thank
you,
you,
Sara.
Megan. Thank you. When has it been like a year and a half? Not quite two, I don't know, but
Something, I don't think quite two, but
isn't it a
close to
blur?
that.
So much has happened in such a short amount of time. But I've been following you, and I'm so impressed with everything that you've accomplished in such a short amount of time. So when you invited me back, of course, I wanted to hear from you as well because I was very busy.
Well, thanks for saying so. Yeah, life has been busy and life moves fast.
Hmm.
And lots of things have changed since you and I had our last chat.
Hmm.
So, Sara is the founder of the nonprofit organization Free Mom Hugs. Can you share just a little bit what brought that? How did that happen?
Yeah, Free Mom Hugs was birthed out of an experience that I had at a Oklahoma City Pride Festival. And it was a journey that took me and my family from the church to the Pride Parade without losing my faith or my son, and meeting this beautiful, what I consider to be a beautiful, misunderstood, spirit-filled community. And from hearing their stories about how members of the community, not all, but the majority, had been alienated from their families, from their church homes, and from many parts of society, and then learning about the laws that affect families like ours. And so I went to a Pride festival, and I made a homemade button, and I pinned it to my sundress, and I offered anyone who made eye contact with me a hug or a high five, because not everybody's a hugger. And the first hug went to a beautiful young girl who said it had been 4 years since she had a hug from her mother because she's a lesbian. And from that experience, Megan, we started the national nonprofit Free Mom Hugs. And there's been a couple events along the way that kind of put us on the map, and people wanted to do what we were doing here in Oklahoma City, where they are. And now we have chapters all across the country, Japan, Australia, and
Wow.
of moms with hearts just like ours who just want to show up and be that loving presence.
hmm And so you have continued to take your organization and all of its chapters nationwide and now internationally. I don't think I realized you had some in Japan and Australia. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you continue to show up at all the places, the pride parades and beyond.
Yes. Yes.
And you
Uh,
have a massive group of volunteers everywhere.
yeah, I think we're about at 40,000, maybe 37,000 registered volunteers. And since November, we've had an uptick of registrations of people wanting to do something, and not only registering to volunteer across the country, but our merchandise, oddly enough. Usually around Pride Month, our merchandise, well, there'll be an uptick in sales that helps support the nonprofit and our chapters across the country. But there's been an uptick of both, and it's just showing me that people want to do something. And the beautiful thing about Free Mom Hugs is that it offers a space for people to show up, whether it's at a pride festival, second chance prom, a clothing closet,
Mhm.
a national drive-by, care packages, whatever it is, that we can let the community know we're here, we're not anywhere. And I want to add too that even though we are free mom hugs, we do consider mom to be an action verb. And it's not our intention to replace someone's parent or guardian. We're always hopeful that the parent or guardian will come around, but until they do, we want to be that loving presence. So
Mhm.
I want to make that clear.
I love your merchandise. It's
Yeah,
my
me
favorite to
too.
wear. I love to wear it when I travel, actually, and I have given away free mom
Oh,
hugs when
thank
I've worn
you.
it.
Yeah, that first hug, Megan, we call it the spark. It's the spark that ignites something, not only within the hugger, and but I love that you mentioned our merchandise because the simplicity of it. It's easy to read. If you can't use your words, you read it, you see it, you know exactly what it's about.
Mhm.
And you're not always in a position where you can hug, but if you're wearing it at the airport or at the post office, I just got a message the other day, someone wore it at their vet office. They took their dog in to have a spa day or something, and they happened to be wearing a free mom hug shirt. And someone at the vet office just broke down and needed a hug. And so it can happen anywhere. And that's what I love about our merchandise and the simplicity. It's practical but profound.
Yeah, it's really hard to politicize or demoralize a hug. Anybody can celebrate a hug
Oh,
or high five, as you say.
yeah. Yeah. I like that.
So, as I mentioned earlier, things have changed a lot since we last spoke. We have a new
Mhm.
president. There's been a lot of new changes in the laws of our country. I'm
Yeah.
speaking from the United States, and for anyone listening outside of the United States, I'm sure you've kept abreast. One
Yeah.
thing that I love you have introduced into the Free Mom Hugs outreach is your Free Mom Hugs conference. And
Mhm.
you had the first one in Oklahoma City,
That's right.
and your second one is coming up.
Yep. We had our first
Mhm.
conference in 2024. We're going every other month or every other year. A lot to plan a conference, a lot
Mhm.
of energy and planning, and we want to get it right. It's fulfills the educational aspect of our mission, which is to be visible, to educate, and to have conversations. So this is our educational aspect, mission statement. And the first conference was here in Oklahoma City, the birthplace of Free Mom Hug, so it only seemed right. And but we are a very red state.
Mhm.
And but I think it's important. That's exactly why we need to be here. So we've been planning for a year and we're ready to go to Dallas, which is a very conservative state, as you know, in the state of Texas. However, Dallas has been deemed by the Human Rights Campaign as one of the most supportive and successful in being supportive to the LGBTQ plus community in Dallas itself. And, people say, well, why would you go to Dallas? But that's exactly where we need to be to, support those organizations, to support those parents and allies and members of the community there. So it just makes sense. That's exactly where we need to be.
I have to admit, I was so excited when I saw the announcement
Oh,
of
good.
of the conference.
And you're going to be there. I was excited
Yes,
when I
I
saw
am.
and not only are you going to be there, but you have been very generous in your sponsorship
Yeah.
towards the organization.
I,
It takes funding. And I know that you work hard and you have just been driven even more so this
mhm.
year.
Yeah,
So,
I'm all about supporting inclusive, diverse resources that just promote and encourage belonging and love, just educating oneself, awareness, all of those things. So, so important.
mhm,
Unfortunately,
yeah.
there's so many misconceptions, so much misinformation,
Mhm.
which just breeds a lot of misunderstandings. And that, in some cases, breeds fear and it
Oh,
breeds
absolutely. Yeah.
worry and concerns that are really not merited.
Exactly. I've long time said, and I know firsthand the power of fear and ignorance, and I know the power of love and education. I've
Mhm.
lived on both sides of this fence, so I'm well aware, and it's so refreshing to know the difference, to be able to educate and to empower. And I thought that free mom hugs would be that bridge that would bridge the gap
Mhm.
um, between not understanding, between fear and ignorance. And I found that once we were able to pour into the community and their parents and families,
Mhm.
that's where we saw a surge of empowerment, a
Mhm.
surge of community, and that's where we put our focus on in the community and their families, because sometimes the other part of that the fear and ignorance of people who just are not there to even willingly have a conversation or try to understand is just wasted energy, really. So there's a saying, if you grew up in church, you just have to save your pearls, and anyway,
Yeah.
there's fruit in serving the community and their families, and we've seen it.
Yes. I agree. That's a beautiful approach, beautiful concept. So is it is it safe to say then the Free Mom Hugs conference that's coming up in April, that's you don't have to be a member of the Free Mom Hugs
Oh, no.
organization. Chances are you might be if you're going to go, but it's open to not just the moms, but it sounds like, well, you share.
We have
Who are,
allies. Yeah, I love that you said you don't have to be a member of Free Mom Hugs. Certainly not. All are welcome there. But I have a feeling once you leave, you will be a member of Free Mom Hugs, because you'll want to be a part of something that's profound and powerful, and a part of something that's on the right side of history, a
Mhm.
part of a community, and a part of something so powerful that you'll be able to take what you get from the conference and be empowered to take it back home where you are, to change the conversations at the water cooler, to where,
Mhm.
whether it's a free mom hug or just wear your allyship and be visible and vocal.
Mhm.
And so that's the goal of the conference. But all are welcome. We suspect that most of our attendees are probably parents, guardians, allies, of course, from the community. We have breakout sessions, keynote speakers that hopefully will educate and empower on every aspect, whether it's um, understanding the community better, or deconstructing your faith and reconstruction of your faith. Although this is not a faith conference, but we cannot leave out the very aspect that got us in this mess. And so we will always have a faith aspect in our conference,
Agree.
because it's bad theology that got us in this mess.
Mhm. So I know there's a main speaker, and I'll
Yes.
let you share who that is. I know who it is. I'm excited, so excited. But there's also going to be various breakout workshops and speakers. Yes?
Yes, yes. Well, our keynote speaker, I'm so delighted to have Jen Hatmaker. If you don't know of her, you should Google and find her. She's on all the socials.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible young woman who has just been very transparent in her own life, from going through an evangelical conservative background to losing everything as she became affirming. She's gone through several life um, changes within her family. She's very transparent about that. And I've just learned so much from her. And I can't wait for our attendees to meet her and hear her story and and to be able to just glean from her. Um,
Agreed.
and we
I
have,
can't
of
wait
course,
to meet her.
yes, yeah, I look forward for, she's going to love you. She's going to love you. And then we have Kathy Baldock, you know of her. The film, if you haven't heard of it, you can check it out. It's 1946. It's a
Hmm.
film
Yes.
based on her research on scripture being used as a sacred weapon. And she's just a delight. She says that Free Mom Hugs gives the hugs and she kicks them in the butt. But she really is, she's done all the work, as far as no matter where you stand scientifically, scripturally, biblically, she's done all the work. And she has an outline that makes it
Hmm.
easy to understand for someone who may not be a scholar or a theologian. And I just love her so much. And then we have Nico Lang, who I just ordered the book, Nico Lang, An American Teenager.
Yes.
And
I got to meet
and-
him briefly at Pride Frisco last year. He was
oh
there
yes,
with his
yes.
display.
Wasn't that fun? I remember, was it last year
I
when
might get the previous one, I think, or the one before that. But he
okay.
came last fall of 2024. So
Yeah.
impressed. I love his book, but I'll let you share. Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I'm about halfway through, but I can't wait for our attendees to meet Nico as well. I'm looking forward to that. And then we have, and if you don't know, other than being an author, they've also been a correspondent for media outlets ranging from NBC News to the Rolling Stone, and
Mhm.
you're just going to love them. And another person that I'm really looking forward to, it's a breakout session, Andy Wells is going to
Okay.
be there. And of course, our friend Liz, she's going to be there.
Mhm.
We're going to have a breakout. And
So
yeah,
it's
and
four
you're going to
days
be there.
jam-packed with so much support, so much love, so much new insight, and new friends. I always meet new friends whenever I go to conferences or networking events or anything of this nature.
Yeah, for some, it's like a reunion. If you like, I go to conferences too, like the Q Christian Conference, Q Christian Fellowship Conference, and Wild Goose and things like that. Is so refreshing
Mm-hmm.
because you just time set aside where
Mm-hmm.
you can just focus on, what's in your heart, what's in the core, and just build that up so you can take it with you is the goal.
And I think that is especially important right now because of just the climate that's in the air in many aspects.
Mhm.
It's so important to find community, to meet others that can relate in ways that most cannot to what you're going through and what you're experiencing, whether it's you personally or a family member or your child, or it could be nephews or nieces or nibblings. Um,
Yes.
it it's just so I can't stress enough how imperative it is to find community. And you have to believe that community's out there, and I promise you that it
Oh,
is. There is a lot going on in the world today. Although it might feel productive, if you find yourself doom scrolling or watching a lot of news, this is actually inhibiting your peace. It makes it easier to get discouraged or lose hope. However, if you're like me, you like to stay abreast. I'm not suggesting that you hide under a rock, but I am curious to know, what practices do you have in place that help you recenter, get grounded, connect to your inner wisdom, and remember you are powerful? On the first Friday of each month, I host a coaching session that anyone is welcome to join. I invite you to get a glimpse into my world and what I do. As a trauma-informed life transformations coach, I employ emotional alchemy and story coaching in my work. My primary goal is to help others help themselves. One of the ways is by raising awareness of one, how and where we store our energy, two, where we receive more of it, and three, the sources that drain our energy. So in this monthly call, I will guide participants in what I term raise your vibration sessions. Essentially, I'm teaching you to increase your awareness of your energy in your body and the messages available to you. I would be so honored to have you on the call. Register at the link in the show notes. See you next month.
I think, Megan, I think it's the most powerful thing that we can give to each other. And our volunteers, a lot of time they go, in fact, I just spoke with a mother with a transgender child the other day. I said, what could we, because I feel like I'm a cisgender white woman. What could I
Mhm.
possibly say to, I don't feel like I can say it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. Let's just huddle down and you know, I have a hard time saying that, even to myself sometimes. I feel like we're going to get through it, yes, but it's only by building community and creating those safe spaces. And I tell our
Yes.
volunteers, we must continue to build community and create those safe spaces. That's the only way I believe that we're going to get through this. And when you spend time in a community, in a safe space, then your fears kind of dissipate a little bit. I'm not saying it takes care of them, but it just, you're not alone and you're not going to be alone.
The old saying, there's strength in numbers. I mean, I really believe that.
Yes, I do too.
Someone usually has to go first, uh, but it's fascinating and beautiful and wonderful and messy when you realize that others around you are feeling very similarly. And it helps to raise your voices together and to connect your hearts together.
Yes, I agree. In fact, in those old church days, I was like the welcoming committee. We served 20 years in a church, and I loved the community there. I loved the fellowship of believers. And I love it now too. It's just in a different way. It's just different. It's outside of a building.
Hmm.
And so, but I used to tell people who would be visiting for the first time, I'll say, I would really want to get to know them and really want to get to know them. And I would say, someone here needs you and you need someone here. And I believe that with my very core. I believe that someone at that conference needs you, Megan, and you need someone there.
Well, I am excited to have pre-order available for my upcoming book that I've been writing for the past little over a year. I stepped into a lot of unknown, some discomfort, and I have written my perspective and my story as a parent of a transgender kiddo, and it's called Transparency, spelled Transparentsee, and how I learned to see through my journey as a parent of a transgender kiddo. More than
I
anything,
love the
I
play on the there.
kind of fun, right?
Yeah, I love it. And I think it's a perfect title, and the timing it's got to be now. So I'm so thankful.
And how would I have known that? And when I started to write it, I just knew I felt really pulled, really moved to share our story, mostly so people can see that we're a lot like them, a lot more alike than we are different. And I'm a mom just navigating something that is new, not to the individuals, but to me, having grown up the way that I did, taught the way that I was, trying to lean into sometimes hard stuff, but seeing so much beautiful fruit come from it. I would not change this journey for anything. I would not change or trade who I am because of parenting my kiddo. I wouldn't.
I love that. And your voice is so important. And as an ally, I think what could I possibly, how, like, it's like, what do you need the most? How can, as an ally,
Mhm.
because really you and your family are at the very forefront of the craziness that's happening. How can we as allies, what do you need the most? And how do you get through the headlines that are just nonstop? And how do
Yeah.
you help your child?
Yeah. Some words are coming to mind to respond to that, Sarah. I think first and foremost, just be willing to suspend judgment and move in closer and ask and listen. Don't ask with the intent to tell what you think is the best or what how things really are, but from a genuine, heartfelt place of wanting to learn, wanting to know and understand. And truthfully, you may never understand, and that is okay because to love someone doesn't require to understand every
Mhm.
aspect of their existence and of their life's experience. I think the more that we can just come from this place of curiosity, whenever you feel a little bit of fear coming up, when you think of your beliefs surrounding queer people in general, but especially transgender and non-binary individuals, that is on you to try to figure out, to try to get curious and understand on a more personal level your own feelings, thoughts, beliefs, issues, whatever that might be. It's not the responsibility of the other individuals
Mm.
that are transgender or non-binary or gender fluid or queer to make you feel more at ease, to
Mm,
make you feel better, or make you feel more comfortable in their presence. I think so much at the heart of this is a very, very low tolerance in humans to sit with really uncomfortable emotions, a lot of discomfort. To be frank, I think for someone to be sitting next to someone maybe who identifies as a trans woman, their mind might be going to a place of, okay, this person, we're assuming that this person has identified themselves in their presence, right? They can't wrap their brain around this idea that this person has a penis and yet they're identifying as on the outside, they're dressing like a woman. They want to be seen as a woman. They want to be called what is traditionally maybe a woman's name, and women's pronouns and whatnot.
mhm.
It's our own preconceived ideas. I mean, this is just language. It's semantics. It's something that has been passed down to us for generations upon generations. And if we do our own research, we realize that it's evolved as well. And there's
Mhm.
lots of cultures and communities that have long since identified a third gender of some kind.
I
And I
yeah,
speak to this in my book.
I'm fascinated with that. Very intrigued. When I first heard about Two Spirit, Two
Hmm.
Spirit community, and even with a transgender, though my child is not, I have a huge heart for the transgender community, and it's because I've met enough members of the community and heard their stories to think, again, these are beautiful, misunderstood people,
Hmm.
and how their lives could be different and so much better if they just had an opportunity to live and
Right.
have their, basic needs met at the, I mean, so, but I wonder if it would be okay to ask you, Megan, like,
Hmm.
if the world was listening, what would you want them to know about your child? Want them to know about your child?
Didn't see that coming.
Yes.
One of my fears, I guess you could say, when I learned of my kiddo's identity is I was afraid I would lose. I was losing my child, who I had grown to know and have a relationship with and love. But what I would want people to know is it is through this relationship that I have learned to look upon the heart, to really see souls. And it really drew so much attention to me how much we define everything and everyone externally. We look for external cues to make sense of what's going on around us, and we miss so much because we miss the heart. And so my kiddo is still the same beautiful soul that he's always been. He's the same kiddo who loves to sit down and play piano when he's just needing to reset or recenter. He's the same animal lover and one of the meekest, most loving people, tender-hearted people you'll meet. None of that has changed.
Thank you.
And truthfully, Sarah, I've met a lot of individuals in my journey who I don't like saying identify, who are transgender or non-binary, and their parents as well. And they are some of the most humble, meek, mild souls you will ever meet in your life.
I know.
These are not the perpetrators that they are made out to be. in the media from people's fears. And again, those uncomfortable emotions that they are not willing to tolerate, that they're
Mm,
not willing to lean into and get curious about and deal with for themselves
mm.
and see past.
Yeah. For every um, visit at the state capitol when they have Advocacy Day, and I get an opportunity to meet with anyone who has this misconception, I wish if they could just spend a day with a family, um, family with a transgender child or even a transgender adult, if they could just spend some time and just have a conversation, we would not be in this mess that we're in today.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry from my heart. I'm so sorry that it just makes me sad that your family and as an ally are just experiencing this at this time in our lives because it's just devastating.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And more than that, I appreciate your advocacy and you being so front and center in so many ways and leading, carrying this big bright torch for so many to follow. And for me, I have learned that when I start to feel helpless or like what can I do, that's when even something as small as going and volunteering for Free Mom Hugs or some of the other places that I volunteer for, or having discussions like this and being willing to be vulnerable and authentic and share that in a public way, that is what helps bring me peace of some kind, just a more settled feeling like I'm doing something. It's not much, but it's something. And it takes a lot of little things and it adds up and we connect and we build and we become this great, beautiful, loving force together.
That's
I really
powerful.
believe that. I really believe that.
I think it's the most powerful thing. And I think it's what we're created to do, and we're accountable. We're accountable. Um, but tell us now about your book Transparency.
Mm.
Like, I love that title. I really do. But I can't wait to get it and share it. And how are things going? Are you close to having a book release or early
Yeah,
pre-ordering thing?
so it's getting published through Joan of Arc Publishing.
Congratulations.
I have been working with Kara Britton for a little over a year. I'm in her author's mastermind.
Nice.
So I have been writing that, and she has been magic in helping bring forth. That's her skill, that's her gift. She's a book medium.
Oh,
And so, yes, I have been writing that. And I feel a second one in there, and I've been starting that one, but that's for another that's for another chat. I'm actually going to be working with her along with 15 to 16 other authors in a master's program. Her community is called Mosaic. That is a more ancient word for the name Moses. She's very spiritual in her,
sounds intriguing.
yeah, in her practices, and she actually was raised in the same faith that I was, but she's moved. She's very spiritually based, and it aligns very much with where I'm at. And truthfully, I've never said this out loud, but my association in her mastermind is a big reason why I didn't completely lose this faith and belief in God because it has been so hard when you associate God with certain leaders,
Yeah.
certain words that they say, things that they teach and they preach. And it's so contrary to what your lived experience is with your child and your family.
Yeah.
Sorry, excuse me. There comes a point where you don't want a part of that kind of a God.
No.
It's very, very hurtful, traumatic in some cases. And so I share that just because that's also been a huge part of my journey. And so my book is in the editing stage. working on the cover. I'm really excited. I might get your input on that
Yeah,
later.
yeah.
But joining her Mosaic Masters program, I'm going to be able to take this story on the next, I guess, level of visibility as her authors. What she does with her authors has been picked up by a producer and will be airing as their own individual episodes with an upcoming series called Legacy Makers. So I will
Oh,
be going to record and have my own episode in a couple of months. Mine won't air until later this year, but some of the authors are already going to start airing starting in, I think, June of
that's
2025.
wonderful. That's
And they all
wonderful.
have amazing stories. Just soul stirring, soul moving, soul shifting stories. It's really
Please
powerful.
let
So
us know when that comes out too. I'd love to share it, and
sure,
I think that'd be great.
I would love for you to
I'm
do
looking
that.
forward to that.
Yeah. Well, Sarah, I will make sure to leave all of the links and all of the contact info and whatnot in the show notes. If there's somebody who's kind of on the fence about whether or not to join their local Free Mom Hugs chapter or whether or not to come to the conference. By the way, it's a 4-day conference. They don't have to come to all 4 days, right? They could come to one,
Right,
two,
we
two,
have opened up
whatever.
day passes for Friday and Saturday. Those were the keynotes will be. So yeah, there's day passes. You can find everything at freemomhugs.org, the schedule, the location, and everything's right there. We've got the conference is in the same hotel where we have a
Okay.
room where we have rooms blocked out. And so you don't even have to leave the hotel unless you want to. But we also have we've made a list of all the affirming restaurants, shopping, anywhere. Because, Dallas, I just I don't want people to think, well, Dallas is in Texas and Texas is just being so horrible. But
Mhm.
there's some wonderful things and there's some amazing organizations doing some amazing
Yeah,
work
there
there.
are
So
definitely pockets.
yeah.
Oak Lawn is a great place. Dallas has been my stomping grounds for the past 20.
Yeah. So you know.
Mhm. This has been such a moving, in some ways, unexpected conversation. I
Um,
love that you like to dig deep just like I do. We get to the real and the raw. And
there's just so much. There's so much beautiful, tenderness. And so thank you for just sharing
yeah,
a tender part of your life. But the world needs to hear that. And if we're accountable to share it. Um, Anyway, I
yeah,
love you so much. I wish I could give you a hug, and I'm proud of you, and I'm inspired by you. And I just hope that you do know the difference that you're making, and you are a powerful, independent, strong, beautiful mom, woman of faith. And the work that you're doing is fruitful that maybe you won't see in your lifetime, but you're paving the way. You truly are, and you have been.
thank you so much. And I mirror all of that back to you. I'm so grateful for you and I love you deeply. Thank you
We're
so much
in
for
this
this
together. I
conversation.
can't wait to give you a hug in a matter of days. We're going to
I
see you
know, right? Same
and
here.
hey, I want you to make a poster board or get some foam board, put your
I
book.
definitely will.
Hopefully, maybe you'll have the cover ready by then.
It's motivating me to get that part finalized.
I
So
think it'd
yeah.
be great to introduce it to our attendees. So get on that, Mama.
Okay. Love you. Thank
I
you
love
so
you
much.
too. I'll talk to you soon. Mwah.
Yeah.
Writer, teacher, author, Mormon scholar, and founder of Dialogue Journal, Eugene England said, "My faith encourages my curiosity and awe. It thrusts me out into relationship with all creation and encourages me to enter into dialogue." As a proud member of the Dialogue Podcast Network, my hope is that Living Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast is an extension of that vision. Visit meganskidmorecoaching.com to find this podcast and additional free resources, including the link for a complimentary coaching session. Follow me on Facebook or Instagram for more, or to send me a DM. Help the podcast grow. Please follow, review, and share with a friend.